From the far reaches of the Milky Way galaxy, it's Retro Nerd Girl with a film review for you. Today I'll be reviewing the movie StarCrash, released in 1978, starring Marjoe Gortner, Caroline Munro, Christopher Plummer, and David Hasselhoff, directed by Luigi Cozzi. The synopsis is a space outlaw is sent on a mission to find a missing ship and a royal son. The genre is action, adventure, sci-fi. The rating is PG. The budget was $4 million estimated. My rating, however, is a 7.7. The story begins with our main character, Stella Star, being chased by police. She and her co-pilot Acton outruns them, and then while rescuing a marooned soldier, they get caught. They're both sent to prison, and somehow Stella escapes, only to bump into the same police that put her in jail. It's interesting because they were actually on their way to release her from prison. They need her help on a mission that no one else seems to be able to do. The Emperor of the Galaxy wants Stella Star to find a missing ship and his missing son, Prince Simon. Together they are to discover the evil Count Zarthon's secret fortress. When I first saw this movie, it pretty much put a big smile on my face. This is the kind of movie I just love watching. The spectacle of other worlds, the wonders of traveling through space, encountering strange new challenges, and different fantasy sequences. The lower the budget, the more I want to know how they did it. I guess, you can say that I'm a hardcore sci-fi lover because I don't even need great special effects. I just love seeing people try to pull this stuff off, and I always appreciate that effort. To be honest, I don't always need a great story, and I don't need all the bells and whistles to be on a film to enjoy it. The pacing, with an hour and 32 minutes, it's a good length, but it still does kind of linger in a few places, which makes me think that maybe this story should have been maybe just an hour. The story is adventurous and imaginative, so imaginative that the special effects and the budget really couldn't keep up with it. It becomes a little convoluted by the end, and the dialogue in particular is written as though it was written for a kids' TV show. A little corny, but I guess it's okay if you know that going in. If you're looking for a deep story here, just look elsewhere. There's no context to know who Stella and her friends are fighting for. We never get to see civilians or how normal people in the galaxy under the Emperor's rule live. I don't even know that the Count is a bad guy. Maybe he's the good guy. We have no proof. The similarities to Star Wars are really evident in the story. Stella is a smuggler, just like Han Solo. Stella has to find a prince, like Luke has to find the princess. And there's no denying that the light sword in this movie is actually a lightsaber. Maybe Acton is actually a Jedi. Perhaps the story actually takes place in the same universe as Star Wars. Maybe just a more primitive time. This is totally possible and actually a fun idea that makes this story a little bit more interesting and the film even more enjoyable. For the challenge, I really enjoyed the villain in this film. He's just a dumb villain, just like most other villains are, but he's got a lot of flair and he's way over the top, just how I like my villains. For empathy, I really like Stella Star. She reminds me of Barbarella from the 1968 film Barbarella, starring Jane Fonda. She's sexy, gorgeous, brave, and fun. When you consider the fact that this film was made with an estimated $4 million and Star Wars, which it's always compared to, was made with $11 million, these guys didn't stand a chance to match up. Money always plays a big factor when it comes to science fiction films. To get all of the effects and the post-production really done right. The filmmakers basically ran out of money. They couldn't actually fly the lead actress, Caroline Munro, to do the voiceover for her own character, Stella Star. That's a big shame. She has such a great speaking voice, so I can just imagine how good it would have been to hear it in this film. In fact, there were so many bad voiceovers that it really cheapens the movie's quality. Graciously, studios put out movies that we enjoy seeing. And sometimes they put out movies that we do not like seeing or we don't quite enjoy as much. Most of the time they're responsible for both. In the end, it's not the filmmakers that have the final say on what movies look like, especially the smaller, less powerful filmmakers. Originally, Stella Star was supposed to wear a skimpy bikini outfit. The studio insisted that she cover up for the second half of the film because they wanted to make sure that it could broadcast on network television. Besides distorting the original idea, more of the budget basically had to go on costumes for Stella Stars, the manipulation of outside forces to the original idea. On another note, I don't know how they managed to get John Barry for the score. The rumor mill has it that the filmmakers didn't really want him to see the film because they didn't want him to quit the project. And that actually hurt the film because it didn't seem as if the music actually matched it. It was good, but it was very minimal, and then it was recycled a lot and sometimes inappropriately used. Just in general, the sound in this movie is probably the biggest area that it suffers. For performances, these actors were committed to their roles. Especially Caroline Munro did most of her own stunts. As well, so did David Hasselhoff. Everyone is doing their best, but most of the performances are lost, unfortunately, due to the distracting voiceovers in this film. The best part of this movie for me is actually the adventure to so many worlds and the different visuals that are offered here. The twin robots, the lightsabers. Always give me more lightsabers. I love those things. In 1978, the only time we saw a lightsaber was one time in one movie. The space station that was shaped like a hand. That's pretty cool. The symbol of power is a fist. And imagine, it kind of reminds me of just the thought of, the hand of God in space. This guy being, an ultimate control freak and has all the power, and his spaceship is shaped like a hand. Isn't that cool? I actually like Stella's costumes. They remind me a lot of Barbarella. I always love seeing stuff like that. I enjoyed the design of the robot L. I thought it was really cool. I wasn't too crazy about his accent or his dialogue, but I loved his design. I love the Amazons. Gotta love Amazons. I like the suicide pod fighters. They're pretty cool. They just shoot into the bad guy's palace and they have pretty much no way of getting out of the battle other than to shoot their way to victory. What a crazy idea. And I actually like it. What really makes this movie for me is Christopher Plummer. Just seeing him in that kind of role. He never does roles like this. I've never seen him in a role like that. And he looks really handsome. They put eyeliner on him. He just looks so cool as the Emperor. So I got a big kick out of that. Some of the sets were pretty cool. They really put some effort into creating these sets, and I admire. I just love seeing really cool environments like that. The bad guy, Count Zaron, he's actually one of the most fun villains I've ever seen. They kind of gave him this weird hairstyle where it kind of curls up on the sides. What the heck is that? The worst for me, and I've talked about it before, it's the pacing, the voiceovers, the sound quality, the script. My wish list for this, I just wish I could go back in time and talk to the filmmakers and say, you know what, there's some things that you should do. The first thing I would say, the working title for this film was The Adventures of Stella Star. And I wish that had actually been the title. It makes more sense than StarCrash. It has more life in it. Sounds like it actually has a chance to be sort of like a comic book and a video game, or maybe even it just has more life, more legs to run. So it's not just a one-off movie, but more like the adventures of Stella Star, just like Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon. I wish that somebody had pitched in some money to buy Carolyn Monroe's plane ticket so she could do her own voiceover. And I felt like if they would just put the extra effort into putting Caroline Munro's actual voice in this movie, it would have really helped her career. And I think it might have been like the times. Doing the AVR voiceover is more like a funny thing now you do as a gag, but it was pretty much the standard for low budget movies back in the day. I wish that some of the special effects were condensed to make the really important ones look really good. It would actually stand out and give it more credibility if they had more pieces that were more realistic and more special effects that looked more impressive. It would be able to stand the test of time. The ending was okay. I felt as if, at the end they just wrote themselves into a corner and then busted out with a massive floating city from out of nowhere to crash into the Han space station. Hence the title StarCrash. It's a generic happy ending. In summary, this movie has been a little secret gem for staunch sci-fi lovers since the 1970s. These kinds of movies were all we had. It's not for everyone. It's not for the mass public. But if you're a dreamer and you like these off-world travels, adventures on the moon, you really don't care about special effects, but you enjoy imaginative content, this is going to be more up your alley. It really takes a lot of guts to even try to make a movie like this. And this movie is a mashup of all these really cool visual ideas. Italian director Luigi Cozzi mentioned somewhere that he wanted to do a Jason and the Argonauts set in outer space movie. And I think he achieved that. There are lots of nods to films like Jason and the Argonauts. Barbarella, 2001 Space Odyssey, definitely Star Wars. He said that no one wanted to make this film until after Star Wars came out. Suddenly, with this whole Star Wars ripoff era, they were allowed to make those movies. To tell you the truth, it's a lot like how studios are making lots of films about superheroes in the 2010s. It's big money. I'm actually pretty happy that they did, because of the movie Star Wars came out in 1977. That means we would have to wait until 1980 to get another movie about outer space that the mainstream could consume. That's why these little small movies are considered gems to the older sci-fi fans. The more space operas, the better. I don't care if they rip off anybody. I don't care what they do. As long as we get more stories in outer space, I'm happy. So guys, that sums up my review. I hope you liked it, and please be sure to subscribe to this channel. I'll be posting many more reviews. And let's keep this discussion going. Leave your rating for the movie and why in the comment section. Take care, movie lovers, and I'm off to my next review.